Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Fierce Fatty podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Wellesby, and today we're talking about what if your doctor told you to lose weight because of your health condition? Interesting. Let's do it.
Perfect.
You're listening to the Fierce Fatty podcast. I'm Victoria Wellesby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money, and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty podcast. Let's begin. Oh, what a beautiful day it is today. I think spring is coming. Yes. I love the spring and summer. I love being warm and not cold. I just took my dog to the beach and gave him a bath because he went into the sea and he got all sandy. So he no longer smells like a hamster. Doogie is my dog. So yeah, I'm excited to talk to you today about this super interesting topic of what to do, right? When your doctor tells you to lose weight. First, I wanted to share with you a review that I got on Stitcher. Most of you were leaving reviews on Stitcher, which I thought I didn't know anyone listened to Stitcher. I didn't know it was a thing, but apparently it is. And a reminder that if you leave me a review, and it can be anything, it doesn't have to be a long novel, but it can if you want to, take a screenshot before you submit it, and then email me at victoria@fiercefatty.com. I will send you a free copy of my book in audio and digital version, so you can read that. So this review says, review title, life-changing. Yes. And it says, I'm new to the fat acceptance movement after being on a diet for basically my entire life. At age 5, my dad called me Porky as I was headed to have a bath. At 14, I was hooked on aerobic exercise. By 16, I decided to give bulimia a try and spent many nights hiding in my closet, sneaking food just to throw it all back up. Add on several years of diet and exercise scams, culminating in the decision to have gastric bypass surgery at the age of 35. It's now been 10 years since my life-altering event and gaining most of the weight back and adding on many other issues such as chronic anemia due to not being able to absorb vitamins properly. I've decided to wake up and face the fact that this is what I'm supposed to be and it's okay. Victoria is a delight to listen to, and the ideas and statements she shares are very thought-provoking and helping me little by little to move on with my life, stop negative beliefs about my body, and truly enjoy the things that matter. So that is from Kimberly. Thank you, Kimberly, for that review and sharing your story. I'm going to do an episode on the surgery. I don't want to say weight loss surgery because often people don't lose weight on it. I like saying stomach amputation surgery because it's not always stomach amputation, sometimes stomach squeezing, because it's important to not soften such a violent act on fat people. But I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that story, right? I know a lot of things that you shared, I was like, yep, me too. Yeah, so share your reviews. Let me know what you're writing, and I'm going to share some love with you by getting my best-selling book called Fierce Fatty. And the more reviews and 5-star ratings the show has, the more likely that other people are going to stumble upon it. People who are in desperate need of this message. And we all, I'm guessing we all, but I remember hearing that message finally that it's okay to be fat, and it just being life-changing, and just getting that one message out that it's okay to be fat can change change someone's whole life. And so by you writing a review, you're making it so someone else might be able to hear this message that their body is okay. And that's pretty cool, right? That's fat activism right there. Doing shit, writing a review. There we go. You're a fat activist. So today's episode, we're talking about doctor telling you to lose weight. And if a fat person, chances are you have been told to lose weight when you've gone to the doctors. I think it's probably pretty rare that you've not been told that you have a big body and that you need to lose weight. And it's very, very common that as a fat person going into the doctors, you go in and you're like, oh, I think I've stubbed my toe. And the doctor's like, have you tried a diet? And you're like, no, just what I need for my stubbed toe. And, when the doctor says, oh, you diet and exercise, you're like, diet and exercise? Never heard that one before. What is this mystical diet and exercise thing you're talking about? Newfangled dangle thing I must try. When in reality, we probably have tried diet and exercise many, 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 many times. And if not, then we know the drum that people beat of just calories in, calories out, all that sort of, and it's not, it's not true, right? It's just utter bullshit. And so what if you have a condition, say, for example, PCOS, sore knees, type 2 diabetes, and the prescription is, well, you got to lose weight. And if you don't, there will be dire consequences. And that's hard, right? That's hard. If you're on a fat acceptance journey and then you also have something going on with your health where you've been told that you have to lose weight, I mean, what do you do? Do you just throw fat acceptance out the window? Do you try and love your body while also dieting? You probably have been told that any of these conditions are because you have more fat on your body. That if you have type 2 diabetes, it's because you're so fat and greedy and you eat sweets all day. If you've got sore knees, you're just so fat that your knees are just buckling under the weight of you. And it's your fault. You should be embarrassed for what you have done to your body. And that, my friend, is total and utter bullshit. It's so bullshit. It's just unbelievable. Now, there is a correlation with certain things and having a bigger body, but it's very complicated. For example, with type 2 diabetes, there is a correlation, but no one knows why that is. Like, is it that you have more adipose tissue on your body? Is it because fat people experience more discrimination, marginalization, stigma, and those things make people unwell? We don't know. We don't know the answer. We don't know if having a big body, well, we do know this, that if you're having a big body, it doesn't mean you're automatically going to get certain illnesses. And a lot of times being fat, counterintuitive to established medicine, I say established as in, medicine that was like, oh, fat people die of everything. And now, modern science shows actually, if you're fat, you're more likely to survive a heart attack, or you're more likely to recover. If you're an old fat person, you are just way more robust than a thinner fat person. And so many different things, so many different stats to show that fat people are just not automatically about to die from their fatness. But we're told that these are conditions that are caused directly because you are fat, and it's very complicated and we don't know why. And also, thin people get these conditions too. So if it's because you're fat, then what the heck? And why are thin people getting type 2 diabetes? Why do thin people have PCOS? Why do thin people have sore knees? And it's not their fault if they have those conditions if they're thin, right? Because clearly it's not, not something they've done. Eye roll. I'm eye rolling right now. That's sarcasm. So it's not your fault. Please take that. It's not your fault. And I know when people get those diagnoses, it really can be, not always, just shame. Can't tell anyone. It's people feel like it's their dirty little secret that they've done this to themselves. And with type 2 diabetes, a massive risk factor is genetics. It's genetics. And so if you have type 2 diabetes in your family, you're way more likely to get it. Versus if you don't, then you're way less likely. There's other risk factors too. Some people of colour are more likely to get type 2 diabetes. And it's nothing to do with their body size, right? So that's my spiel on diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I've been on my research thing with type 2 diabetes ever since the BBC show, I feel like, all I ever talk about is the BBC show. But since the BBC show, Who Are You Calling Fat? And we had that the representative from Diabetes UK come in and say, oh, your legs are going to fall off if you get diabetes. I knew a lot of stuff about, fatness and type 2 diabetes, but I wanted to get a lot more information into my brain. And I find it very, very interesting and also very maddening that this condition is like this beating stick for fat people. Like, diabetes, you're so fat. Oh, diabetes, you're going to get diabetes. Not only is it bullshit that, every fat person is going to have diabetes, it's also really healthist. Like, oh, you're a better person if you don't have a health condition? Are you a better fat person if you don't have type 2 diabetes? No. You're equally good or bad, as someone who does have it or doesn't have it, And also, it's treating type 2 diabetes as this thing like a death sentence. Like, oh my God, your life will be absolutely ruined. You're going to die immediately if you have type 2 diabetes. And for a lot of people, it's a very, very easily managed condition. Now, that's a lot of that's a complicated statement because, some people don't have access to healthcare. Some people have other things going on. But generally speaking, it is an easily managed condition and it's not going to ruin your life. And really, if you have just been diagnosed with type 2, you might be feeling that dread and that terror of, oh my God, my life is over, I'm so unhealthy or whatever. But hopefully as you live with it, you'll realize that, I can do this, hopefully if you have access to healthcare. The US. Obviously being in the UK and being in Canada for the last 10 years, that's not, free healthcare. Yay! Which everywhere should have. I mean, come on. Okay, so you have whatever it is you have. I'm just boiling it down to like PCOS, sore knees, and type 2 diabetes because that is the more common things that I come across. So your doctor says, okay, you need to lose weight. Now, what your doctor is doing in that moment is prescribing you something which has a very, very, very low efficacy rate that is not backed by science. Did you know, when I found this out, I literally was just like, no, it can't be. But not once ever in the history of the world has there been a study to show a diet works. Not one. Never, ever. There is no robust study, peer-reviewed and not paid for by diet companies that shows any diet works. Nothing. Isn't that mad? Isn't it wild how the diet industry is $66 billion a year, yet there is not one single study to show a diet works? It's just bananas. Whoa. So they're prescribing something but that has no science behind it. We do have a lot of science in regards to the effects of dieting, and with a failure rate of 95 to 100%, and that 95% statistic is about 50 years old. Lots of studies have been done since then. And we know that if you are living in a bigger body, say if you're bigger than a small fat, the chances of you being able to lose weight, keep it off for the rest of your life is less than 1%, 0.8% chance. Okay. So, you might be thinking, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyway. If I have a 1% chance, maybe 5%, if I'm feeling, generous, 5% chance of this might work for me. Well, there is consequences for dieting. Not only does it fuck with your brain, it fucks with your body. It fucks with your heart. You're more likely to develop an eating disorder. 90% of people who go on a diet display symptoms of disordered eating/eating disorder. 90%. And 2 out of 3 people gain more weight being on a diet, right? So if the cure is to lose weight, then you've got a 2 out of 3 chance by going on a diet to weigh more. But the thing is, your weight doesn't correlate to your health, and so that doesn't really matter if you gain weight. But if your doctor is prescribing something that is doing the opposite, then they're not doing right by you. So the answer is not to diet. Now, a lot of people do diet and they might see relief from symptoms, they might reverse their condition, they might have a happy ending. Now, what things are they doing while they're dieting? Is it the weight loss that has, quote unquote, cured their condition? Or is it the things that they're doing to lose weight? There may be some healthful things that they're doing. For example, they might be moving their body. Studies show exercise has very little effect on your weight. It's not a good way to lose weight. There is no good way to lose weight, but exercise in particular is not good for losing weight anyway. But it's good for other things, right? As long as you're doing it in a non-obsessive type way. And so, say if someone has sore knees and they start moving their body, they start doing physiotherapy, they start strengthening their muscles around their knees, and they happened to have lost weight, which is more likely than not temporary. And so they're like, oh my God, it's the weight loss. It's because I lost weight that my knees don't hurt anymore. By the way, our knees can take massive, massive loads of weight, really. So someone is like, oh my God, I lost weight and my knees feel better. It's because I was so fat and now I'm so thin. I lost 10 pounds or whatever. And when they stop being able to keep the weight off, then they stop those behaviors that saw them temporarily lose weight, because what's the point if they're not losing weight and they're gaining weight, and so they're not going to do those behaviors. They're not as sustainable. Studies show healthful behaviors are not as sustainable by far when you tie them in with the number on the scale, versus when you tie them in with how you feel. And so when people lose weight and they feel better and they're engaging in healthful type of behaviors, not always are they doing this, obviously, and then they put the weight on, they stop those healthful behaviors and they're fatter, and they're like, aha, it was the weight. I've put on weight and now my knees hurt again. Well, maybe they stopped doing that physiotherapy. Maybe they stopped doing the strengthening of the knees, etc., etc. Or maybe, someone who has type 2 diabetes, they start by eating certain food, right? And cutting out food groups or whatever. Now, I'm not a dietitian. I don't know what to tell you to eat to help with type 2 diabetes. But the things that they could be eating could be alleviating symptoms, regardless of the weight loss, right? So, but then we attribute any of the good stuff to the fact that they have less adipose tissue. So the question you need to ask is, do straight-sized people get this condition? Has a straight-sized person ever had sore knees? Has a straight-sized person ever had type 2 diabetes? Has a straight-sized person ever had PCOS? What do they do to manage their condition? Now, the doctor might be like, oh, well, they eat more of this and they exercise like this and they take this tablet and they do this. Well, that's what you want, right? You'll have that. Thank you very much. Because that's effective, right? Versus just diet, which is not effective and will do the opposite. Not that, being heavier means that you'll have more health issues. But if the doctor thinks that having a smaller body equals health, then, no, doctor. So you'll have the things that the thin people, the straight-sized people are having and doing. And it's easy for me to say that right now, because when you're in the situation when you had this diagnosis and the doctor says you really need to lose weight, it's so fucking hard in that moment to be like, I don't think so, a doctor, person in a white coat, very authoritarian. I'm feeling very shamed right now, and so I'm going to stand up to you and tell you no. Now, it's very hard in those situations because, we're bad fat people and we've just gobbled so much food and we've caused our eyeballs to fall out and all that type of stuff. So it might be difficult in the moment, and that means you're a human being. But if this ever happens to you, know that you can ask this question. Know that when you are prescribed weight loss, that you can question. You don't need to say, no, I'm not going to lose weight. Of course you can do that. You can say something else, and you can just question more. And you can say, outside of the weight loss, what else can we be doing? And when you can say to the doctor, and so when you say weight loss, do you mean you want me to eat certain food? Do you mean that you want me to move my body? What do you mean? And they might be like, yeah, I just mean, eat more of this and less of that and or whatever. And now that might be a triggering message on its own. And you can find a health or every size nutritionist or dietitian or non-diet dietitian to help you navigate those maybe shame-filled messages around what you should and shouldn't eat. But digging down to what actually they are talking about. Do they mean that they want you to be smaller, or do they mean they want you to engage in certain behaviors? And also on that note, they're presuming that you don't already engage in those behaviors, like so many times, oh my God, presuming that, you've never moved your body, and maybe you haven't ever moved your body, and that's absolutely fine. But the presumption that fat people are all do the same things and behave in the same ways is just redonk, right? So what I say to my doctor, if they ever start talking about weight, is I say, listen, I am a fat activist, and I want to let you know that I have had a history of disordered eating patterns, over-exercising, and all sorts of, things like that. So when you talk about weight loss as a prescription, it is harmful towards my health. So what can we do to treat this without talking about weight loss? Because that is not an option for me. That's the type of thing that I will say to my doctor. Now, I've only had to say that once. I think in the past, before I was fat positive, I would just when they say lose weight, I just nod and be like, afterwards be like, not going to happen. But saying this is not going to happen felt good. Of course, you don't have to say anything. I know in the States, sometimes you might have, issues in regards to maybe the doctor will write non-compliant on your file, and maybe that will go back to your insurance company and your insurance go up. I don't know. I know these states and insurance is so fucked up that I wouldn't be surprised. But try and get, to what it is they actually want you to do, and what it is that thin, straight-sized people do when they're in this situation. And remember, it is not your fault. Now, in the show notes, go check out the show notes, fiercefatty.com/017. If you scroll down, there's probably going to be a link wherever you're listening to take you to the show notes. I've attached a PDF from Three Birds Counseling and the Intuitive RD. And it's a little thing that you can print out. Let me find it for you. I'm going to read it out. And you can take it to your doctor. Now, you don't have to have a conversation with your doctor. You can just send an email. You can send a letter. You can just write down something on your phone and show it to them, because it can be a very high stress situation, right? So this note that Three Birds and the Intuitive RD wrote says this: Dear health provider. So this is about getting weighed. But think about this in regards to asking for what you need. This is the type of things that you can say. Dear health provider, I understand your general procedures may include collecting weight data at every visit. As the research on weight science suggests, I find it health promoting to avoid weighing myself unless it is absolutely medically necessary for my treatment. And so that line, I love that. I find it health promoting to, and research on weight science suggests the good stuff, right? I understand weight may be helpful when determining anesthesia dosage, determining pediatric and some adult drug doses, low weight anorexia treatment, tracking child growth trajectory, kidney failure, and a handful of other scenarios. I will be happy to comply with being weighed in such medically necessary circumstances. I also understand weight is not necessary for routine checkups, sore throats, or many other general visits. Unless my weight will impact today's treatment recommendations, I decline being weighed. If it is necessary, I would like, and then it has 3 different choices. First one, to be informed as to how the weight information will impact or inform my treatment. The next one says, to be weighed blind. The next one says, for it to not be written on the chart I carry to the front desk. And then it ends with, thank you for respecting my refusal to be weighed during our sessions, and thank you for providing me care. Now, in my course, Fierce Fatty Academy, I have different options for emails, letters, word tracks to what to say to your doctor, depending on how you want to approach it. You don't have to necessarily talk to them face to face. You can email them or whatever. And so there is that resource inside Fierce Fatty Academy. But you can go to the show notes to get that little PDF. And it's great. It's great. So in a nutshell, when you are prescribed a diet, You are being prescribed something with a very, very low efficacy rate. Like, imagine if you went into a doctor and they were like, I have this condition. And they're like, okay, well, take this pill. 99% chance it's not going to work. And actually, really good chance it's going to make you unwell, emotionally and physically. But give it a go. You never know. You might then be the magical unicorn that it might work on. Any science behind it? No. Actually, there's no science at all, apart from we do know the negative effects. That's backed by science. You'd be like, no, bitch. Do you have a doctor's license? What the fuck are you talking about? Would you give me something that works, please? What? And you knew that there's another group of people who are getting from the same doctor a different pill that works. You'd be like, give me that motherfucking pill, right? And so that's what dieting, being prescribed dieting is like. It's like being given a pill that doesn't work and makes you physically and mentally unwell. And of course, you can take that pill. It's your choice. You do what you want. You might decide going on a diet. You might be one of the lucky few. I say quote unquote lucky because really the side effects from dieting is in my eyes not worth it, right? You might be one of the lucky few that this magical weight loss thing works for. So you can decide, okay, I'm going to try and lose weight. Your body. But you can also decide that this faulty bullshit prescription is not for you because you deserve better. You deserve the same respect and care and level of treatment that someone who is in a smaller body gets. And it doesn't matter if you quote unquote caused your fatness. It doesn't matter if you caused anything that's going on with you. And think about that idea of being, causing your illness. It's fat phobic because there's lots of instances where humans cause an illness. So for example, I used to love skiing. I'd go skiing all the time, every weekend, every time I chance I could. And one day I was skiing on my favorite slope. It was like through the trees, and it was super icy. And I fell and I tore my ACL and did damage. I can't remember what the words are, the other shit in there. Anyway, I fucked my knee up. And I went to the doctors and eventually I had knee surgery and it was probably very expensive. I didn't have to pay for it, living in Canada, yay. But never once did I feel like, oh shit, I caused this. It was an icy day and I had fell just before I fell the second time. I had fell. And in my brain, I was like, come on now, like, suck it up. You can do it. But really, I knew that I needed to take a break because I was getting in my head and blah, blah, blah. And so it was my fault, as much as, anything can be your fault like that. I wasn't shamed. I didn't feel ashamed. I just thought this thing happened. I deserve to have a knee that feels good. I'm going to have surgery. And when I was in recovery, I got cards and a bunch of flowers. Well, they were like fruit that looked like flowers dipped in chocolate, delicious. And I wasn't embarrassed that I had this thing happen to me. And it's the same, like whatever's going on with you. And the reason why I didn't feel embarrassed is because that wasn't to do with me having a fat body, right? In fact, I was a quote unquote, society would have seen me as a good fatty because I was a fatty that was exercising. And so I was, it was a good thing that if I was going to injure my body, it was because of that. Versus, say, if I injured my body because I don't know, I something negative fat. I don't know. I got stuck in a chair because my body was fat, and I hurt my hip or something. That's fat phobia. Right? So another thing in the show notes is my free training. So if you are at a place where you're not loving your body, where you're still feeling out of control around food, you gotta get on my free training. It's called the 4 Simple Steps to Feel Confident in Your Body and Around Food, even if you believe it's not possible. And I say even if you believe it's not possible, because a lot of people, they'll look at me and they'll be like, well, you're special. There's something special about you, and there's something extraordinarily unspecial about me that means that I cannot be as confident and body loving and food PC as you are. And if you're thinking that, listen up here. That's fucking bullshit. You're not extraordinarily ugly. And even if you are, fuck that. Like we've made up an idea of what ugly is. You know, if you do believe you're ugly, why can't you embrace your ugly? And if you think that, oh yeah, but my belly hangs over, but my tits are extra saggy and long, but my stretch marks are really unattractive, but if you think that you've got something extra special that means that you can't love your body, it's bullshit. It's baloney. It's baloney, I'm not extra special. Honestly, I promise you, I'm not extra special. Like, listen, I came from a very damaged background where someone like me should not be in the situation where I am today. The chances of me getting here were slim, right? And if someone like me can do this, can overcome such a tremendous amount of adversity. And if you listen to 2 episodes ago, you might have an idea of a bit of that adversity. If I can do it, you can fucking do it. Okay? So if you're having those doubts, shelve them for the moment. You can still, hold on to them if you want to, but come along to the webinar. The 4 Simple Steps to Feel Confident in Your Body and Around Food, even if you believe it's not possible, in the show notes. Little fact about me for today is, I find this so interesting. Do you know what your Myers-Briggs personality type is? You might be thinking, what the fuck is that? Or you might be like, oh, this. Because I was in recruitment for 9 years before I was a professor and then now doing this, I was in recruitment, and so I did a lot of personality testing because it was a lot of to do with the hiring practices, and when you're being hired as a recruiter, you need a certain specific personality type, and I had that personality type that was more likely to be successful. So my Myers-Briggs is ESFP. ESFP, Echo Sierra Foxtrot Papa. That's not what those stand for. That's just the phonetic alphabet. I know phonetic alphabet because I used to work in a call center. Anyway, so you can find out your Myers-Briggs if you go to 16personalities.com. You can find out for free. But it's really interesting to find out your personality type. And Myers-Briggs is not the be-all and end-all. There's lots of different personality thingamajigs out there, but Myers-Briggs is like the most common, and often you'll see it on dating profiles because I'm dating. You'll see a lot of people who are like, my Myers-Briggs is this, and I'll go up and look at what their Myers-Briggs means, and then I can be like, no, not for me. So the first letter in it means that I am an extrovert. Now, I always thought I was an introvert, but really what it is it's where you get your energy from. And it turns out I get my energy from spending time with people, which is probably why I like doing this podcast, because it feels like I'm talking with you, like you're my friend. Like I'm chatting to a group of people or whatever, even though it's just me in a room. But I do need a lot of downtime. I do need downtime to recharge and time alone. So my personality is the entertainer and the athlete. And so the entertainers and athletes more likely have my personality type, which is ESFP. And I get on well mostly with people who are introverted. And my romantic partners are more likely to be introverted, sciencey, because I'm arty, more structured, that type of person, versus me. I'm a kind of, don't tell me what to do. Like, hence being an entrepreneur, I couldn't work a 9 to 5 job, because I'm like, what do you mean you want me to come at 9 and then stay till 5? In recruitment, as long as you were making money, you could kind of come in when you wanted and leave when you wanted, and just do what you want, get drunk at lunch, and that was perfect for me. And same with entrepreneur stuff. I can be very structured, but when I choose, type of thing. So I was never going to be an employee. So my personality type: bold, original, aesthetic and showmanship, practical, observant, excellent people skills. My weaknesses, because I need to tell you my weaknesses, it says sensitive. So they're strongly emotional and very vulnerable to criticism. Now, I've worked on this, like, before. I would be like, oh my God, you don't like me? But this is stuff I've worked on. Conflict adverse. I don't really get into fights, but I will stand up for myself. So that's kind of easily bored. Yeah, I need excitement. Poor long-term planners. Oh my God, this is so true. I am the worst at long-term planning. I just think in the next kind of couple of weeks, and even just at the week, like, we get to the weekend, I'm like, well, what should we do? Like, why has no one organized anything? And it's like, well, I could have organized something, but my brain doesn't think like that. Unfocused. I don't think that I'm unfocused. I don't know. Yeah, so they're the negatives. So yeah, 16personalities.com. Learn a bit about yourself. And the reason why it's great to learn a little bit more about yourself is because you can recognize when things are not feeling good. Maybe it's because it's going against what your personality type is. So for example, when I was an adjunct professor, I would teach the students how to network and how to talk to people. And the event used to be this massive 500 people networking event. Most people hate that. Like, I'm not into really networking events, really. That's not my thing. But some of the students would be absolutely fucking terrified, because they haven't had the experience, but also because they were an introvert. Now, it wasn't my plan to have a networking event in the curriculum, because I don't think that's fair for people who are not those types of people. An introvert might be way better in a one-on-one, quiet coffee shop, that type of thing, maybe meeting a friend of a friend, that type of thing. And they're not going to be their best when they're having to do things that are outside of who they are as a person. And they might take that as, I'm not good. I'm not good at connecting with people. And that's not necessarily true. It's just that situation isn't designed for you to flourish. And so, if you know your personality type, you can really understand, like, why, for me, like, why is it that a 9 to 5 job sounds horrible, but for someone else, the idea of being an entrepreneur is just their worst nightmare. Like, there's no stability. It's kind of, who knows what's going to happen month to month. And for someone else, that is just horrible, and they need that stability of a 9 to 5. So I'll put a link on the thingamajig, and so you can check out yours if you want to. You don't have to. You might think it's a load of fucking bullshit. So, all right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you on the next episode of the Fierce Fatty podcast. Goodbye, my fatty. Okay, see you later.